Have you ever heard that your LDL is the bad cholesterol and your HDL is the good one? Well, you're not alone, but I'm going to tell you today that that's not necessarily true. So before you take that statin medication to drop your LDL, listen to this video and maybe by the end of it, you will totally understand how to interpret your lipid profile. So the most commonly tested lipid profile has 4 major components. It tests your LDL, which is your low density lipoprotein, HDL, high density lipoprotein, your triglyceride, and your total cholesterol. We're going to focus on 3 of those things today: your LDL, HDL, and your triglycerides. So, when you get your lipid profile, the first numbers I want you to look at is your HDL and your triglycerides. If you're a woman, your HDL needs to be greater than 50, and if you're a man, your HDL needs to be greater than 45. And for both men and women, your triglycerides need to be less than 150. On the other hand, if those numbers look good, and maybe you want to look at your LDL next, you go ahead and do that. Now your LDL needs to be less than 3 times your HDL. So, for example, if your HDL is 70, your LDL needs to be less than 210. I know that number seems high, but that's what it should be. Just a little bit of a side note here, just in case if you don't know, before the statin drugs were created a few years ago, did you know your doctors didn't even bother to look at your LDL? They didn't even look at that number. Just saying. And did you also know that the test that your cardiovascular doctor used to check, you know, the online calculator they used to check the risk for heart attack, doesn't even have LDL anywhere on that. So I don't know why LDL is such a big deal. How do you know if there's something wrong with your lipid profile? I'm going to tell you what to look for and what to ask your doctors for before you take a statin medication. Okay, so you know something is wrong with your lipid profile and you're at great risk for cardiovascular disease, mainly heart attack, if your HDL is less than 40 and your triglycerides are greater than 150. Those are the numbers you should focus on. But if your LDL is just like way out of whack, like it's greater than 3 times your HDL, that is not always a bad thing. If your LDL is like healthy, and you having low LDLs on the other hand is not necessarily a bad thing too. It's not necessarily a good thing, I'm sorry, on the other hand. So the best way to really accurately measure your LDL is your lipid particle test. It actually measures the size of these molecules, and if your LDLs are like big, healthy, and plump, they're fine. They can be, the liver will recognize them and take them out of your bloodstream. The problem is when you have like unhealthy LDLs floating all around the place. Those are the ones that causes plaque. So if I were you, if my LDL was just way out of whack and my physician wants to prescribe me a statin medication, I would ask for a lipid particle test. It's a little expensive, but have you seen the side effects of the statin medication? You have some cognitive impairment there, which will include like memory loss and confusion. Most times, you know, they won't even link that to the medication. You have liver damage, which time and time again has been proven that the statin medications would do that. And the worst of all is it increases your chances of type 2 diabetes. And sugar is just in your bloodstream is a different kind of killer. And I'll make a whole other video about that, but trust me, nobody wants diabetes. Everything just goes downhill from there. And it can also cause muscle cramps and pain. You don't need anything else to cause you pain. Just saying. So I'm hoping that, you know, when your doctor asks you, when tells you need to lower your LDL, I'm not telling you not to listen to him, but I'm asking you to have him look maybe a little bit more into your lipid profile and explain to you why you need it. And I would suggest that you ask for a size particle test, because, you know, when you know better, you can really take much better care of yourself.